We are live. We are live on the
Hey,
internet.
hey,
We
hey,
are live.
hey,
We are live.
hey, hey, hey,
I have a kazoo. Yeah, so that's the thing that happened. Hi, I'm Herms. This is the show with no name, coming to you from The Lateral, a sideways look at fantasy football. This is a show where we just talk about stuff, typically fantasy football, because that's kind of like the theme of the whole thing. Yeah, so that's what I do and stuff. But I also have a co-host who's sitting right there. So say hi.
Hi. What's up? I'm Jesse.
There.
Yeah, my ad is Bacon Games Jesse. Do work for Lateral. I do my own stuff, big games, fantasy sports. Yeah, I'm here excited. We got some dope guests tonight, guys. So yeah, what's up? Javar, if you want to go first or introduce
Yep,
yourself.
yep. I'm Jafar. You can follow me on Twitter at Jafar Session. I'm part of Fantasy in Session. You know, thanks for having me on. I'm hyped. Glad to be here. Let's talk some fantasy.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
it's me, Eric, your FF coach, FF Players Club. Just out here doing my thing. Glad to be on the show. Been chatting with Herms for a while, so I'm glad we're able to, go live and, give you guys some content.
Oh my gosh. And what a great day to start doing that again. Because, it's been a while since the show with no name has had an episode, but we decided to do one for my birthday. Hooray!
Happy birthday.
Yeah,
Nice.
everybody.
And then I woke up to the news that all of the investment that I had put into Josh Reynolds being potentially good for fantasy this year completely went out the window. Hooray! Because we didn't have this, set in the show sheet that totally exists. Yeah, Julio Jones, no longer an Atlanta Falcon. That was, wow, okay. I mean, not like super surprised, obviously, because like anybody who's been alive and awake and like seeing things for the last, few weeks or whatever, kind of saw it coming at some point that he wasn't going to be on the team. But now we know where he'll end up. Just like opposite AJ Brown. Ryan Tannehill chucking it downfield. Woohoo! So, geez, I don't even know where to start, but that's why I have a co-host. So you can just go ahead and give your initial reactions. We'll kind of just go down and around, do the whole thing. Like, I don't know. Talk about Julio. Talk about Kyle Pitts and what this does for him. Talk about whatever. I don't know. There's a whole laundry list of things that this affects.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, people probably assume Julio Jones is like old as fuck, but he's only 32 years old, or 31 years old. I think he might be 32 by the time the year starts, but or maybe he's 32, whatever. Anyway, yeah, I mean, he's been in the league for like 10 years, so it just feels like it, but he's still got a lot left in him. I also feel like last year he was kind of like up and down with the game, so people like, there were certain weeks where he was pretty down, and there's certain weeks where he was very up, so it's kind of this like very new reaction to him not being maybe as good as he was in the past, but I don't know if that's true. I think it was just an injury-riddled season, so I think he's still very, very good. Super underratedly good still, which is kind of crazy to say, but there are a lot of great wide receivers in the NFL today. But I think the real winner of this, too, is Ryan Tannehill. He's been a great quarterback. He lost Corey Davis, and now he gets Julio Jones. It's huge for him. He's going to skyrocket, I think, up my quarterback rankings for fantasy football. So, yeah, that's my takeaway initially.
He was spot on everything, but you left out. I mean, you can never think how does this help Derrick Henry, but it also helps him as well. Who's going to stack the box now? So
Exactly.
it should also give Derrick Henry less touches, and he should be more efficient with those now. So it'd be some more tread on the tires for all those people who have him in dynasty. And but I feel like at the end it only hurts Julio. AJ Brown's not the true number one, as he was going into the clear-cut number one, as everybody thought now. But the only person that really hurts is Julio. I don't see him getting all those touches he used to get in Atlanta. But Ridley, Pitts, the sky's the limit. And the third guy, whoever shows up in Atlanta, is going to be a good flex play. So open up some spots for some other players to be valuable.
Eric?
Yeah, you guys pretty much all nailed it spot on. Always was a big fan of Tannehill, very efficient. So I think, having A.J. Brown and Julio, obviously ups him in a lot of the ranks. A.J. Brown, still wide receiver one to me. He was, before the trade, after the trade. That's not really moving much. I think this is also good for Julio in the sense that he did peppered with a lot of targets in Atlanta, but I just think that the sustainability might be a little more here, especially with the wear and tear on his body. I mean, he's missed a lot of games. So I think being able to be in a stable situation with a stable offense where they don't have to throw the ball 40 times a game, can probably extend his career out a little bit longer as well. So, I think he made a good point. Calvin Ridley is going to have a great year. Kyle Pitts is always really high on my list. He doesn't leave the third, fourth round of dynasty startups, most of the ones I'm in. So I think he's going to have a great year. He'll be lined up at wide receiver, tight end, wherever you want to put him. I wouldn't be too worried about that rookie tight end curse. So, it's going to be a fun year for sure.
Oh, dude, 100%. And I have been tentative about buying into the whole year one Kyle Pitts thing the entire time. But now that, we were talking a little bit about it, before we hit the live button, at this point, there's not a whole lot standing in his way to be able to just go out there and kill it. So, whatever. I don't know. I'm bought in. He's going to move up my rankings.
The hype train was on fire. Now everybody's just out adding fuel to it. So it's just going up now. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody takes him before Waller.
Oh, it is definitely going to happen for sure.
I might do it right now.
Hey, what? Why not?
Well, I don't know what tight end came out of college with this much hype, and I'd rather be on the winning side of history on this one. If he busts, there's going to be a lot more conversations than, you took him third over in the third round. I'm like, but if he does well, I'll be a happy camper.
Yeah, dude, because the last time there was, at least in my memory, in my lifetime, the last time a tight end had anywhere near this type of hype or whatever, shout out University of Maryland College Park, woohoo, Vernon Davis back in the day, you know what I mean? That type of shit, so yeah. It's been a hot minute since, we've had a guy like this just waltz in being like, hey, check it out, I'm huge, and just with that
star
type
power,
of
man.
Yeah, dude.
Aura is real. I rank my players based off their aura. That's it. Outfits is number one.
Yeah, but because we got our statistical ranks, we got our aura ranks, and then we
exactly.
You gotta blend it in. It's all part of the same formula.
There you go.
True.
Gee, and I pulled up my redraft rankings that I'm clearly going to have to readjust at this point, and I already had Ryan Tannehill at QB 11, but man, dude, he's got so much to work with now. It's gonna be he's just looking at it, right? Because the people in front of him that I have, tentatively speaking, are like Russell Wilson, Matthew Stafford, Tom Brady, and then we get into the Aaron Rodgers, Jalen Hurts. Ooh, I have him very high. I don't know. I can't really. Actually, no. But here's the thing: I could talk myself into putting him super high because he's also really good at running. So, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, whoever wants to reply to this first, how insane am I if I put Ryan Tannehill in my top 6?
It's just Derrick Henry's going to see so much work in the red zone. That's all I'm worried about. And yeah, I just think it's some other quarterbacks that's going to be running a lot too that can sneak up in there. It's just Derrick Henry is the only thing that hurts Tannehill at this point. I still think he has a shot to be a quarterback 1, but I don't know, man. You can have your takes on it, but I'm still gonna buy some other quarterbacks before him. I might take a couple rookies.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm taking Tannehill in the top 6. My thing is, I think he's going to be a really good, real life quarterback. I think the Titans are going to play really well. I think AJ Brown's going to have a good year. Julio, I think they're going to win a lot of games. But when we're talking strictly fantasy, I'll take a quarterback that made, Jameis Winston, I think he threw 40 interceptions that year, but he still had a great statistical year. And you know what I mean? So it's it's kind of a little complicated with me when it comes to fantasy. Ryan Tannehill, he's my backup quarterback, on one of my dynasty teams. I dropped Matt Ryan for him, or I traded Matt Ryan for him or something before. Again, I think he's going to be a sound player in real life. I just don't know how much it's going to translate statistically. But I think he's going to be a great player.
See, I think I don't want to come off as I'm down on Tannehill because whoever gets him, he's going to be a steal for them for sure because he's been efficient without Julio on the field. Mm-hmm. So he is a good quarterback to be someone. I would love to have him as my quarterback 2 in Superflex. but having them as 1 is still a good deal. I'm not down on them. It's just I like the rushing ability of some other quarterbacks that make mix in there. But if you got them up there, your top 6, that's your take. I just think like Tom Brady has a better team, and as long as that guy Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, it's going to be hard to keep him out of there.
Exactly.
And I feel like Matt Ryan's going to throw the ball more than Tannehill, so I kind of have Matt Ryan for Tannehill.
I can see the Titans playing up from a lot and running the clock out with Henry. You know what I mean? Limiting a lot of those passing attempts. Where you see Dak, for example, he had a huge year before he got hurt, but they were playing from down the whole game, every game. So I mean, I don't see that being the case with Tennessee.
To be fair, I am pretty high in the Tennessee defense, but I don't know. I feel like the perception is that it's still not very good. Do you feel like that's the case, or
that's the perception for me?
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, I'm just the jury's still out on their defense. Definitely.
Sure. Yeah. So real quick about Tannehill in the top 6 is a little tough for me, but I definitely have him above Hurts. Top 10. He's in my top 10 for sure. I'm a big fan. I'm a huge simp. I love him. I think he's also a very good real life quarterback as well. So yeah.
All right, I've calmed down a little bit on the excitement or whatever. I will be moving him up, but not nearly as high as I initially proposed. I don't know. Just I thought that would be a fun exercise. So that way, and like do this with some of your buddies, everybody out there. Just like I don't know, like if get the vibe checks in real time from people being like, "Oh my god, this is so exciting! I got to move him all the way up here." Ask 3 other people if you're insane or not. That is the move. But I don't know. That's the thing. Okay, so moving on. Transition. Boom. I'm so good at this. The theme of today is the airing of fantasy football grievances. Because I'll tell you what, every year, we reach a certain point, like, around the summertime where it's like, okay, we got to start prepping for like redraft and all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. But like, I don't know. There are a lot of things that happen, like, especially like in the Twitterverse, but also just, like in our own heads and like our own research and stuff and whatnot. Like things we're still pissed off about from last year. Like, I don't know, like things that we, see people like, I don't know, like common takes or whatever, where it's just like, like a bunch of people believe something, but but in your head, you're like, but it's not true. Why are people saying this? Oh my God. It is good to just like, let it out, scream into the void, make your brain just like, I don't know, just like wipe the slate clean, go into it, just like as open-minded and as clear-minded as possible. So that way, you don't get caught up, just like being angry at things all the time. So that is why I thought this would be a good idea to just be like, whatever you got bottled up inside of you about fantasy football, just like let it out, make it, just make it be known, voice your opinions and concerns about whatever. So that way, by the end of this, we'll all feel so much better than we do right now.
How much time do we have?
I can just feel it. You loving this, Herm. This just need to be like a monthly show for you. You do this once every month.
It's gonna be a regular on the show. Yeah, this is gonna be a regular show. Oh man.
Let me know if that's the case. I'll be here today.
Oh, but that would be really fun. Or like, I could start doing the thing that, I would buy a pickup truck, just get like, like a really weird trucker hat or whatever, and then just like film videos of myself, like looking into my phone, being like, just like doing that type of thing. Like, yeah, I'm just going to become one of those people. I don't know, but instead of politics, it'll just be fantasy football. That's going to be my new identity. But like, I don't know. So like, yeah, this is just the equivalent of that. But just, I don't know, people angrily yelling about fantasy football stuff. I will start because it is my birthday and I said so.
There you go.
I don't know, dude. Like man, what is the number one great? Oh yeah, dude. Okay. So people always act like Ronald Jones is bad. He's not bad. Okay? Like, dude,
Hands of stone.
Yeah, but it's just like, I don't know, man. Yeah. And like, I was looking at like the number, and like, I tweeted something out, and then I like a couple people were just like, I don't know, if Tampa Bay doesn't seem to trust him very much. Blah blah. And I'm just like, I looked at the numbers from last year. Like, I don't know, he played 14 games, he started 13. Like, He carried the ball almost 200 times. They didn't really trust Leonard Fournette until the playoffs when Ronald Jones like tweaked something in his body and he got a little hurt. Like that's why we got playoff Lenny. That's why we got Lombardi Lenny. But if you look back at the numbers, they used Ronald Jones a lot. Okay, he's good. Like yes, he came into the league and barely got used and all this stuff. But, like he was really young. He was really really young. He had to get acclimated to the professional level. Like all this stuff. Like but like dude, if you look at his like. Just career numbers on like Pro Football Reference or something. Like he has gotten like steadily better as time has gone along in like many different categories with like efficiency and like all this other stuff. Like I don't know, he's good, okay, whatever. And he's only 23 or whatever. So just like remember that Ronald Jones is good. I'm not advocating for him to be like a top 12 dude or something. Like I'm not saying like Ronald Jones RB1. Like that's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is just like he's a lot better than you think he is. And you could trust him to be like a somewhat reliable RB2 or like a bona fide flex for your fantasy team. So just like stop being mean to Ronald Jones. Just stop it. It's so rude.
Oh man. I like Ronald Jones too, man. I'm a fan. I'll just say that real quick. I like him. I'm a fan.
Well, it's funny that you start with this. My co-host, Carlos Jones, he's been an advocate for Ronald Jones for so long. So, you know, when he first came in the league, it was like, bro, what are you doing there running back? Stop talking about him, whatever. It went so far that I started calling Rono, and then Carlos stopped mentioning him. And then this year he had a great year, and I had to be respectable and said the man showed up. He got over 200 carries. He did his job. He was the starting running back for them. He took majority of carries. It's time to put that to rest. Rojo is here for now as long as he get majority of the carries. And he's a back to be had and will be starting each week. I don't know, either for somebody in the running back 2 position or the flex, like you said. So I agree.
So Ronald Jones, right? I think we think he's as good as he is. Solid running back, like as a real life player. Solid, he can run the ball. I think what got Lenny on the field quicker, I mean, obviously he was traded, so he had to learn to take some time, learn the playbook. You know, you have to have your shit sharp when you're playing with Tom Brady. And the fact that Ronald can't catch for shit, can't catch the ball. Worst hands, one of the worst hands of a running back. So, I mean, that's definitely going to cap his upside. Yeah, he's an efficient runner of the football. He's a bruiser. But if you can't catch, you know, it's like being a big man in the NBA that can't shoot. It's like you're outdated. Like you gotta have some hands. And you saw him in the Super Bowl. I think he got stopped at the 1 like 3 or 4 times. If you're a bruiser and that's happening, get Lenny in the game. Plus, I'm a Lenny truther, so I'm going to shade Ronald Jones. Rojo's a whack nickname too.
Wait, why are you a Lenny truther?
You said I got to add that.
I took it was a dynasty startup, I think like 3 or 4 years ago. I think Leonard's second year in the league. And I actually took Kareem Hunt and then traded him for Leonard Fournette as like my number 1 first overall, like pick that round. I think it was like the 8th pick. And I got a lot of flack for taking him. He was hurt that season and things like that. And people have been talking shit about Lenny for a while now. So when he came to Tampa Bay and kind of, you know, gave it to the Rojo truthers, it was a truth. It felt good. I'll take that. It was a lap I was willing to take.
I got you. Fair.
I mean, I would say, you know, I'm not, you know, come redraft, these are the running backs in Tampa Bay back. I'm not really targeting or anything.
Oh yeah, not now. 0%.
You know,
I want none of them. Yeah.
If I grab any of them, I want to mess my flex play for sure. As far as it goes, dynasty wise, it's either Rojo or Vaughn that I'm kind of looking at. Lenny was only signed for a year.
You saw Vaughn?
Yeah, I mean, like
okay, I should make sure we're talking about the same Vaughn.
Oh yeah. After next year in dynasty, who's going to be there? Lenny could be gone. We don't know what Gio's doing. You know, I think they're just adding a lot of stock because Brady is there, and as long as Brady is there, they're just going to keep adding competitive players behind him so they can try to win the ship. Once the Brady hype is over, this running back is going to go to the younger guys. And as he said, Rojo is like 23, and Vaughn, I forgot the draft capital they spent on him, but he's in there too. So those are some players to watch. But redraft, I'm not really. Yeah, I'm trying to stay away from the backfield as much as possible.
Yeah, I want no parts of that backfield. And even if a few years, you know, Keyshawn is the guy, you know, say after the Brady hype, I'm sure by that time, if he's not, I've already established himself as somebody. They're going to bring somebody else in.
I'm hearing that he might be like, or I heard that like a report that he might be a cut. So we'll see. We'll see who's on the team this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that goes.
Although, hey, it's a good thing that we mentioned Keyshawn Vaughn briefly there because we got a question from the comments. Haha! Yeah. So, Rojo, Gio, playoff Lenny, all that. But do we think Vaughn will have more reps? Honestly, my immediate answer to that would be like, I don't know. Can he pass protect? Because like that would be his path onto the field. But like as far like of that group of names right there in Tampa Bay right now, like Gio Bernard is the best pass protector. So I mean, like he will probably be seeing the field over Keyshawn Vaughn. Like I don't know. Like I said, like that would be his path to playing time to be able to do that because like yeah, it's going to be like Rojo and Lenny up top there, like doing most of that work in my opinion. But like I don't know, like beyond 2021, it's a different story because like I don't know, like what he was a 3rd round pick. Correct, Keyshawn Vaughn.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. Maybe there's a little something there long term, but at this, like, I don't know. I've significantly cooled off to where I was this time last year, because I remember a lot of people were like, "Oh man, Keyshawn Vaughn's gonna be a thing," and then that didn't work out, obviously. But like, I don't know. To answer the question, like, bringing it back to something I already said, like, yeah, the path to him being on the field, like, he would probably be like coming out in those certain packages to be able to make sure that Tom Brady doesn't get his ass on the ground. So, like, maybe. I don't know. Does anybody else have a different answer?
I would just say this. Remember Rojo been buried on a depth chart, and then we thought it was over with. So anything is possible. But as far as next year, anybody can have reps in that backfield. As far as receptions, it's so many great wide receivers Brady has to throw to. I just don't see much to be had for the running backs if they're not running the ball in this offense.
Yeah, Keyshawn Vaughn is a non-factor to me. Like 0 shares.
Dynasty stash.
If you got a deep bench in the big league, like I'm not. He doesn't move the needle at all for me. I'd be surprised if he's actively involved, especially after they brought in Gio. He was either 4th best running back on the team now. Like, maybe there's going to be some injuries. He's going to see the field if they have some significant injuries up front. And that's about it.
I don't like the talent, so I'm just not a fan. And it's a really crowded backfield that he's not going to, make himself higher.
Yeah, I don't know what he really does that's going to step so much better than anyone else on that team, where he's going to have to demand for some reps.
Yeah, it kind of feels like the reason they brought in Gio is because they don't like Vaughn.
And they know Rojo can't catch.
Yeah.
Keep calling him Rojo. It's like red in like Spanish. That's how I read it.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that kind of covers that. So there it is. I've aired my first grievance. Jesse, air your grievance.
Oh, okay. I hope I'm interpreting this exercise right, but I'm just going to say kickers. I fucking hate kickers. Don't want them anywhere in my fucking fantasy leagues ever. Get them the hell out of there. I hate kickers.
I'm not letting to hear you say that.
Look, if you guys come out, I'll tell us straight to our face, dude. I don't care, man. I do not like kickers.
That's funny. When we first started off, we had everything we tweeted. We had a little ban kickers, add a flex to the league like that. And so, it caught on and, that's how we got to interact with a couple of people. So we started off like that. It's just kickers is not really a way you can be like, hey, this guy's going to score 7 points this week. It's so hard to predict, like, oh, we don't know if this defense is going to stop them at the 30-yard line a couple times or are they going to make it down there. It's like so much to go into. It's so volatile with kickers. It's frustrating to lose to Tucker from the Ravens getting 21 points in a game or something like that. But, still the people who advocate for kickers, if you got them in your league, it's cool. I don't even draft one. I just trend one every week if I do get in the league like that. But, yeah, I'm on the train. I just rather play Josh Reynolds in the flex than a kicker.
I get it. I mean, I'm in a couple leagues with and without kickers. I think for me, I prefer without just because, all the analysis and breaking down that we're doing. The last thing I want to do is, have to evaluate a kicker. However, I do think if you are in a league with kickers, I think I don't think it's as unpredictable as, I think you had mentioned. Of course, Tucker's getting his points. Shout out to Rodrigo Blankenship. That's my guy. That's my kicker in one of my leagues. You know what I mean? So if there's a few guys that can make a difference on your team, but the rest, 6-7 points here and there, all that's really going to do is piss you off in a close matchup. So I get it. We can ban kickers.
Yeah, and like I was very adamantly against kickers for a while there, just because like it is frustrating sometimes trying to figure out like because like Javar said, it's just like how are we gonna know like what defense is gonna stop somebody like within field goal range like a few times to be able to set somebody up to be able to do that. It's like it is very irritating, but like I've put together like a little bit of like my own theories about how to like pick good kickers and stuff on a week-to-week basis, just because like I think like looking at games that have like super high over-unders or whatever, like yeah, that's you have to just anticipate like, okay, well, if it's going to be super high scoring, then there will at least at minimum be more opportunities for somebody to be able to do kicks and whatnot and all that. But like I think my biggest beef with the whole kicker thing is just like how it's scored traditionally. And like my thing that I would definitely advocate for where like I don't know, making the field goal, make that like 1 or 1.5 points, and then just do like fraction scoring based off of like the number of yards or whatever that the field goal is or whatever. So that way, like you get a little bit of credit for it going through the uprights, but then make it so that like, I don't know, like a 34-yard field goal could be worth like 3.4 points or like whatever, all that. So like make it like more like specific or whatever, just because I don't really appreciate the fact that like, I don't know, if you chip in like, I don't know, like a 20-yarder or whatever, it's worth the exact same as like a 37-yard field goal or something. Like that's annoying. You know what I mean? Like that little like weird like scoring range thing. It's just like, nah, man, just like make it all about the yardage. Like I think that would be the way that I would want to like alter the position a little bit. Like I don't know. I've been toying with that, and we have a really interesting setup for it in the lateral best ball league that we put together, the Sideways Sideshow Bonanza. Like we're experimenting with kicker scoring to try to make it more interesting like that, but like I don't know, just like I'm not nearly as anti-kicker as I once was, but I am anti the way we score kickers.
No, that makes sense. I like that.
I mean, I'm not against, but it's just like I'm not watching football to be like, hey man, you know what I'm saying? Even though when I'm a Falcons fan, when the kicker comes out there, he kicks the field, like, "Ooh, I got those 3 points." I'm very thankful, happy he can make it, but it's still like, that's not a part of the game that I'm really looking at for fantasy wise. I'd rather be looking at somebody to catch a ball or juke somebody. I don't know, but it's to each his own. If somebody has a kicker league, it's cool. But me starting up a league, I probably most likely won't have a kicker, not even a defense, probably.
IDP is the way to go.
I haven't even got into that yet.
Oh,
yeah. Come on now.
I'm fairly new to it, but I'll tell you what, I'm already having a great time. It is super, and plus, you know what I mean? Like it's a different, it's the opposite side of the ball. It's the other part of football or whatever. Because like I don't know, like fantasy for the most part is just focused on the offense. But like I don't know, I feel like I'm learning a lot more about defense and whatnot just through having to play in that format. And like I don't know, IDP, very specific but very good shout out. And also, yeah, so we got people in the chat are great. Like, yeah, IDP is where it's at. Woohoo! Yeah, celebrate. At least give it a whirl, maybe. You know what I mean? Like, if you're worried about like jumping like head in with that, it's like I don't know, maybe like working like 2 like IDP flex spots in your league. See how that feels.
For real, it balances it out, especially when you got a big roster. It's good to have like I have I think 5 IDP spots in one of my dynasty leagues that I started up, and 3 of them are positional. So you have to have a linebacker, you have to have someone in the secondary, you have to have someone on the down line, and then 2 flex. So if you want any other 2 defensive positions you want to play, you got to do that. But yeah, everyone has a spot, and they adjust the scoring so the things that they excel at, you get more points for. Like you don't want to give too many points for tackles because that's really safeties and linebackers. So for deflected passes, I have points. So the corners have more value because otherwise, no one would really want to draft a corner. I think Stephon Gilmore that year where he almost won Defensive Player of the Year, he had like 20 pass deflections, which was a league leading, but most scoring systems don't account for that. So it is a kind of a lot if you want to get into it and really like excel at it, but it's fun. It's part of the game. You see guys like Devin White, is his name?
Yeah.
Savage. Like, from the Bucks, right? Like Savage. Like you see him in the plays he makes, and then you see he's got 20 fantasy points. It makes you feel good, especially like I drafted Chase Young, in one of my startups. And Savage, savage. He puts up wide receiver 3 numbers sometimes. So I love him to death.
Yo, and hey, you gotta shout out. You gotta collaborate with the Dynasty Pylon.
Talk to me. Yeah, my DMs are open.
On-air invites. That's a rare feat, but I'm here for it, man. Keep the ball rolling. You know what I mean? What's your grievance that you would like to air?
Who, me?
Yeah, go for it.
Oh God, jeez, I forgot my list. But I'll start. Anyone who says anything negative about James Robinson.
I love you, dude. Fucking love you, dude. Fucking love you, dude.
That's what
Let's go.
Me off, first off, y'all don't know shit about James Robinson. Nobody. No one was checking for him. And mind you, I've been, when I first created my account, it was like at the start of last season. One of my first wave of tweets was James Robinson. Go get the guy, pick him up. Nobody cared. People were talking about Devine and Zigbo and Chris Thompson and Raquel Armstead. I'm like, guys, James Robinson. Nobody wanted to listen. He starts balling out. Trade him while you can. He was an RB1 all year. Fantastic player. Now that they take Etienne, when they were going to take Tony if he was still on the board, everyone wants to get out the megaphone. I told you to sell James Robinson. I knew it. You didn't know anything. And you still don't know what you're talking about. So that's where I'm ending on that, because I'm going to turn into an angry old man in a little bit.
Jesse, that was the most base take we've had ever on this show, so I'm very happy that we can get to this. Yeah, Travis Etienne's also bad, so James Robinson's gonna have control of that backfield. And you're right, they wanted a weapon. Urban Meyer said he wanted a weapon, and they got Etienne there. They'll use him like they use Laviska maybe sometimes, but James Robinson is really good.
He's legit and solid. It's like, look at it. He's like, but he wasn't drafted in this and that. I'm like, watch the game. Watch him play. How does that make you feel inside? How does watching him run through 3 people make you feel? And then tell me where you want to rank him.
Yeah, dude, that guy breaks more tackles than anyone ever seen. He reminds me of Maurice Jones-Drew. He really does. I'll say it.
He's really good. He's really good at football. Like, that's it.
I'm just.
Let me hear.
Capital.
I can hear. You want to say something now?
That's why I can see why people are worried about James Robinson, because you can feel like he can just be had because he wasn't drafted. He has no draft capital. New coach coming in, new plays they want to run. I feel like it really hurts him in the reception department with the the draft. But as far as rushing in between the tackles, I feel like that's all this work. And with the quarterback and everybody, and a more new team, they're going to be more efficient. So he's going to have more opportunities to score to come back all those receptions that he's going to lose. I think it's going to be a running back 2 for you coming this year. And I think Travis is going to be overdrafted and it's not going to come through at his ADP.
Yeah, I don't know. I've gone back and forth with the whole James Robinson thing, but thankfully I have had Jesse to keep me centered at the end of the day with all of it, because he's fluctuated up and down my rankings a few times or whatever that we still have yet to publish, but it is coming soon to The Lateral, www.thelateralff.com. Check it out. It's a website with us. But yeah, so and the thing that really helped me be less concerned about the whole thing was like that report that came out or whatever, just being like, oh yeah, they're going to try and have Etienne do the whole wide receiver thing. I'm just like, okay, like rookie camp opens up and the first thing you have this dude do is like drills outside of his own position. Like that feels weird. I don't know. That was kind of confusing to me, but like, and even then, like, suppose we do, live in a world like midway through the season where there is like some sort of like a changing of the guard, and like James Robinson hypothetically does become useless at some point and it does become Etienne's job. That's still half of a season. You know what I mean? Like literally imagining this being the worst case scenario, that's still the first half of the year helping you, just like, make sure that your record's good so that you can make the playoffs in your league and all the other. So it's just like, even worst case scenario, he still carries like pretty solid value. So it's like, yeah, dude, like, I don't know, man. James Robinson, he's legit.
And if the Jags did draft Tony like they wanted to, would the people still be victory lapping? Or people be asking, "Oh, what's going on with Laviska?" Then everyone would be worried about Laviska, and that would also have pissed me off because he's my other guy. So like this is what I understand. Like I love Laviska, but after he clearly said we wanted to draft Tony, how can you be like, "Oh, I knew they'd get a running back and ho." It's like you're just talking to talk because you've been wrong this entire time about this man up until this point.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say about Travis, and then from college, it was just like when I watched the film, it was more like a one cut, and he's out. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't really, reading the hose or anything much like that. He was just a one cut and out type back. He kind of reminded me of Tevin Coleman. You know what I'm saying? Once the hold is there, he hit it. I believe he's a little bit more talented than the guy. I think he has some growing to do as far as a pure runner of the football. But, man, he is a weapon when he gets the ball that can take to the house. It's just a new team. We haven't seen them play together. It's a lot of uncertainties going on with the team and a lot of things you can say about them. But I feel most confident in drafting Shark, of course, T-Law, Laviska as a flex play. I'll take James Robinson as a running back too. Travis, man. I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm getting him in redraft and dynasty. You go get your guy, but that's where I'm at with it.
No, it's okay. This is a safe space. Sorry, this is a safe space to hate on Travis Etienne because I do not like Travis Etienne. I'm not a fan. Probably one of the reasons they want him running, like in the wide receiver, like in the slot or like that, because the motherfucker can't pass block at all. It's ridiculous. Like I don't know what use he's really going to have on this offense, and I don't think it'll be too much, to be honest, especially in the running back role. But well, we'll see. They spent a lot of draft capital on him. That is something to consider for sure. But yeah, I'm not an ETN believer even before he was on my favorite team. So.
Yeah, and like Javar said or whatever, like Etienne is a very, very good home run hitter. Like if he finds that, like he's going to dedicate to wherever he's going to run to, and he's just going to run there. And if he runs smack dab and to a defender, like 4 yards in front of him, like that's just going to be what it is. If it ends up, it being good, then he'll just go on some ridiculously long run. But I don't think he runs with a lot of intent. Most of the time, like I think his entire thing is just like, all right, here we go, I got the ball, I'm going that way, woo! And like that's just his, like that's cool, but sometimes that doesn't really work out very well. So I mean, like that is something he's going to have to work on and adjust to at the next level. Being a little, like smarter with some of the decisions. I wouldn't, maybe not smarter is the word, but I don't know. Either way, just like more thoughtful, I guess, with like the types of things that he's doing. And like, maybe that is why they're trying to do different things with him. That's a whole other thing. Like, I don't know. I feel like we're all kind of collectively further down on ETN than other people. And I'm glad that we can share that commonality as a group, because I think that that's probably a good stance to hold.
I don't think he's bad. Per se, I mean, he was legendary in college. I'll give him that.
Yeah, but not last year. The year when they had everybody get drafted, he had a legendary year. Once everybody left Clemson, it was kind of like,
oh yeah,
what are you doing? You're the guy now. Everybody's going in.
He showed up. Well, I'm interested to see what he brings to the next level. Of course, people are calling him Camaro Light and all types of stuff. I don't know if we're taking it that far, but I think he has the physical tools to make an impact. We'll see how that translates. I'm pretty big on the Jaguars offense, as a whole this year. So I think they're going to move the chains.
You guys might be higher on them than I am, so that's cool. That's good to see. I'm happy about that for sure.
I love Shark.
Yeah, I like Shark a lot too.
Big fan.
Yeah.
Man,
Visca's the best wide receiver on that team, though.
You think so?
No, don't go there, man. Come on.
Look what Shark did with quarterbacks who are not starting.
What you mean? Who did Visca have? Minshew? And who?
Yeah, Minshew and Glennon.
Minshew and who? The year before that? Look what Shark did with Minshew and who.
Shark was solid. I'm not saying he's bad. Just if I had to pick between either one, and for a real football game, this is Visca 10 times out of 10. But that's just
man, we were doing so well together, man. We were doing so well. So well, man.
More like a gadget type, until he fine tune his route run. I think he's more like a gadget, like a Curtis Samuel, but he could.
I think just because a player is good at different things doesn't mean that that's what they specialize in. Yeah, he can run the ball out the backfield. I don't think that takes away anything from his ability to go out and make plays as a wide receiver.
go ahead. And I just see Shark as that definitely number one. He's like 6'4". He can basically run all the routes, and he's only in the third year. And they put it to me like this: when a wide receiver puts up good numbers, with a no-name quarterback that's not even playing the next year, like Allen Robinson, who's doing it, I feel like they have skill. It's not the quarterback. They are getting
for sure.
For sure. So
Chark's the real deal. Chark's the real deal. I don't take nothing away from Chark. Like, he's still up here. I just got this guy right there.
I hope this comes true. I waited back like around. I let Judy slide and waited around to get Laviska in some of my dynasty starter drafts. So I'm up there with you. I'm up there with you.
Hell yeah, dude. Oh, and I was very, very glad that you decided to come on this show, Javar, because like the fantasy in session, one of my favorite things about the show is just like, dude, because like the whole thing is just like y'all are so good at just like crafting like the arguments and like things that you guys make or whatever, and just like, dude, like it's kind of just like a low-key airing of grievances like every time there's an episode, you know what I mean? So it's just like, give the people a preview of them rhetorical skills that you put on display on a consistent basis. What is your grievance that you would like to air first?
I want to air out, man. It's 2021. A traditional startup fantasy football league has to come with 2 quarterbacks by now, and has to be PPR or PPR. By now, we're done with the traditional one quarterback league.
Don't forget 12 team.
You know what I'm saying? What I'm just saying, that you can add your IDP, you can have your kicker, your defense and no defense, but the foundation is 2 quarterbacks, and it has to be PPR, half PPR, man. It's just, we got to make the quarterbacks more relevant. And don't forget the tight end premium, too. You got to make the tight ends more relevant. And it's just more fun, man. And you got to have more flex spots, because with the PPR, it's more people who are more relevant and can score it. I just feel like once you do all that, it really comes down to it really shows different people how they draft differently. It shows their skill sets of just when to start, who they think going to be flex plays down in. It just really shows a lot more skill set. As me and the boys in the session, we put it, if you play spades before, one quarterback league, it's like playing spades without the deuces, so that's without the twos. And 2 quarterbacks, it's like playing spades with the joker, deuce. You got more big trumps in there. And that's where I'm at with it, man. I was on the fence, like, no, let's take 1 quarterback. Man, I did 2 quarterbacks and it took off, man. I just started jumping in leagues, and I love it with the 2 quarterback, man. It just adds that little to it, and it's a little more shit talking, and it just, it was just too easy with the 1 quarterback. Just wait to the 8th round, and you're still going to get a quarterback 1. So, you know what I'm saying? So it just made it.
It changes the draft completely. You're right. It changes the draft completely. And don't forget 12 team. You got to have at least 12 teams.
Oh, I'm there with it.
I got to have at least 12 teams. Oh, that 10 team. What's a 10 team? How'd I look? Yeah, your team looks great. There's nobody in the league. Cut the NFL in half. I guarantee everyone's roster will be stacked. Okay, like come on.
Absolutely. Now. Yeah, I pretty much agree with all those scoring format stuff. I've never done tight end premium, but I think that'd be pretty cool to try. I'm curious how it would look in practice.
What qualifies as tight end premium? Because it was sometimes I've seen like an extra half point for a catch, and I'm just like, does that really move the needle to a tight end premium? Or
I don't know.
So we do it like the tight end premiums, where they get a whole point or catch. So they get 7 catches, they get 7 points, they get 60 yards. Now they got 14 points and make it more relevant. It makes the tight ends that like Eric Ebron and Jesse Lee, he was probably irrelevant every week if he wasn't tight end premium. But in tight end premium, he was scoring double-digit points in some weeks. You know what I'm saying? And so I just like if it's not tight end premium, it's just like the guys who get the top 4 tight ends basically have an upper hand each week, and everybody else is kind of out of the loop. Rather as with tight end premium, it makes guys in the back end, more relevant that you really want to look at. It just helps out everybody else in the league and kind of even things out, in my perspective.
Yeah, and so
no, I'll say a quick question. So the scoring, what about 2 tight end leagues? That's not tight end premium.
No, that's just having 2 tight ends. Tight end premium is just having it
Gotcha.
1 point per catch.
For the listeners out there, I know the man that may have been a question.
Yeah. Although there is an interesting conversation to be had around like what actually brings more value to the tight end position, the like scoring thing or adding another tight end. Like there's definitely a philosophical discussion to be had on that. But like I don't know, like I've joined a couple leagues that do the whole tight end premium thing. I've enjoyed it so far. I think it's pretty neat. But the point that you snuck in there that didn't really get super highlighted yet until just now, your point that you made about it being at least half PPR or full PPR. I don't like the standard scoring thing, just because, like, I don't know. If somebody catches the ball, you should be rewarded for that. You know what I mean? Like, the old school scoring of just, like, the only thing that really counts are touchdowns and yardage. I'm like, yeah, dude, like, that point you snuck in there. Just, like, the non-PPR thing, I'm sick of it. We've evolved as a society, as a people. Like, give players credit for catching the ball. If you're still playing in a league that does not reward catches with any sort of point value, you should probably reevaluate that. It's a huge part of the game. The ability to catch a football, like, it's hard to do. You know what I mean? As someone who's terrible at it, I can tell you, just like, yeah, you should be rewarded for. And like I've heard the argument before about like, well, it's kind of cheap because it's like the running backs to get like the little screen things or whatever. It's just like, oh, well, that wasn't that hard, blah blah blah. I'm like, I don't know. You still have to be coordinated enough with your hands and your eyes to be able to see an object coming at you and do this or whatever. Like, it's hard.
So about that, because that's something that a friend came to me and said. He's like, yeah, I don't like a full point per PPR because of all the dump offs and drop off passes to the running backs. I said, okay. To me, that's a valid point. So what I ended up doing was, instead of a full point, I do 0.75 per catch, and then you'll get 0.25 for a first down. So any dump offs, you'll get 0.75. But if you get a catch for a first down, then you'll get that full point for your PPR. That way, your catch has to mean something to really get that extra value.
I'll put it like this. I understand what they're saying too, but if the running back is catching the ball, that is another talent added to the game for that running back, and that basically elevates that running back from other running backs if you can catch the football. So you got to honor that guy. Like, there's only one CMC. You know what I'm saying? If we wasn't giving him points for catching the ball,
Rojo.
Right. So you got,
full circle. We've come back.
You got to respect the game and how the game is played nowadays. It's not Terrell Davis where the running backs is just handing the ball off. They got more to do nowadays. They got to run. They got to pass block. They got to catch the ball. And if they caught the ball for that screen, they probably had to do a little dance to get those 15 yards. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't even if it's a dump off in the NFL. That's still a hard catch and dump off. We done seen people catch a dump off and get lined out. Like, I need my points. So that's where I'm at with it, man. I just as the NFL is trying to go to more higher scoring games, we love to see high scoring. We love to see the points, man. Just put me in the game where the points at, coach.
Yeah, and your point about the whole the dump off thing still being difficult because it is or whatever. Just okay, the degree of difficulty of the catch itself or whatever. Sure, whatever, blah blah. If you're further away, it's obviously harder to do.
Right.
But catching a dump off or whatever, you still have the impending doom within half a second of you catching the ball and turning your head that way, looking at everyone running at you. That's hard to, that's a lot of pressure, man. I don't know how I would handle that. I would be scared for my life. Just I got the ball. Oh, just immediately, everyone's running at me. Oh, please don't hurt me. Oh,
let's put it this way. What's the smallest car out there they got?
Like a little Fiat or a smart car or something.
Just imagine what it's probably about 8 Fiats on the field running at you, just with all the momentum and all that going. I don't know the science behind it, but it's probably about a car going 10, 15 miles. But yeah, Yeah, that's just a lot. I'll be scared out of my mind every time I'm catching the football like this, and I got to turn around. I'm just like, is this the day I see stars or not?
Exactly, dude. It's terrifying. Okay, and like I gotta say it, that kind of leads me into the next airing of grievance airing that I'm gonna do. The whole okay, people will do the thing where they're like, that player is bad or whatever, and it's just like, okay, pump the brakes there, because I dislike the people that are like, oh, that guy sucks, he's the worst, oh my god. It's like, okay, he may be bad for your fantasy team, but this whole thing that we regular people can look at world-class athletes from our couches and be like, yeah, that dude just sucks. No, that's not how this works. This person is at the top of their profession. You know what I mean? You know how many people have played sports in their life? You know what I mean? Get that total number of people. Ballpark it in your head. You know what I mean? Millions upon millions upon millions of people have played sports at some point. The number of people who make it to the professional level, it's a minuscule number. That is a minuscule number. So it's like, even if someone's bad at the professional level, they're a bad professional athlete. Professional. It's their job. They get paid to play a game. Think about that. Just remember that. Anytime you're about to just go on some rant being like, oh, this dude's the worst. It's like, they're way better than you now. They're way better than you have ever been at any point in the past. And they are way better than you will probably ever be at any moment in the future. Remember that. Just remember that. That's those are the people that you're yelling at. People that are in peak physical condition, that have worked their entire lives to get to the pinnacle of sports. Remember that.
I thought you was about to say, these guys get paid to play professional sports horribly. I swear I just about to say that. But
not quite. But either way, and it's just I don't know, just quit yelling at people who are incredibly good at what they do. Just stop. Keep it all relative. If you want to complain about something oh, this guy sucks for the specific game that I'm playing, okay, sure, whatever. You have a leg to stand on in that regard or whatever, because yes, you could be frustrated that they're not helping your fantasy team, I guess. But when people come at their actual athletic talent and all this stuff, it's bro, they've made it this far. How bad are they really?
Yeah, so I will say I kind of agree with what you're saying. I think when people say guys suck, it's I think the implication there, that's in context, considering the rest of the league, right? I think that's normally how it goes. But I understand what you're saying. I also think it's really weird when people at dudes on Twitter or go into their DMs and shit like that and be like, you're fucking terrible, you forget. That shit pisses me off. That's really dumb.
You don't gotta at anybody. That's
audacity.
Yeah.
I understand as a fan, say if you're a fan of your team, I'm quick to call somebody trash. Sorry, that's just it. Just is. I'm real quick to be like, yeah, he's ass. I'm not drafting him, 0 shares. But it's when you're a fan of a team, especially basketball, for example, if a player on your team that you don't like, he's stinking it up. Yeah, obviously he'll come into your local YMCA and score 40. But you're hurting my team now, and that messes with my emotions. I am now unhappy because of things that you're doing on the court or on the field. Frustration will build to the point where now I'm vocalizing it. It is what it is.
That's what this guy emotions.
This is fans. Fans they're passionate. The same way when you're doing great, they love you, they cheer for you. We're spending money and time to watch you because you entertain. It's also an entertainment element. If I'm now spending my time, I worked all day. I'm here, turn on my TV. I want to watch a game. I want to enjoy the thing that I like to do for enjoyment, for leisure, and the ball's bouncing off your face, and you're fumbling and you're pissing me off. I'm going to trash immediately. That's just what's gonna happen.
No, because my take was definitely more directed at the people that are just.
I know.
But Jesse said, the people that have just the audacity to tag someone, or especially the people that slide into athletes' DMs or whatever. It's you have no right.
And
you
don't need to be disrespectful either. You can be yo, he sucks, but it's some people take it too far. You know what I mean? It's these at the end of the day, these are also still men you're talking about, and they can see these things, and it's people get oh, they responded. Like you see athletes now like responding and saying something back, and they're like, oh, you get paid millions of dollars. That's what pisses me off the most. When people say, oh, you get paid too much money to worry about what someone's saying in your DMs. Like, I'm not a human being. Like, at the end of the day, I can give you $1 million right now. I push you, shove you, disrespect you, you're going to retaliate. It doesn't matter how much money you have. You're a human being at the end of the day. That's what really pisses me off. Oh, don't talk to me. You're a millionaire. What do you worry about me for? Yeah, I don't care if you don't have an Abby up. Watch your mouth. Like, who are you talking to?
Yeah, because like there aren't a lot of people that show up to my job or whatever, and then they're just like, "Oh man, you dropped that pen on the floor. You're the worst." I was like, "Okay, like, gee, okay, sorry for that. I mean, good lord, like, oh gosh, it's like, well, you tried to staple those papers together, but you forgot that there were no staples inside the stapler. What an idiot! Like, no,
look, you practice this every day.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just like, imagine how that would feel if like athletes come to your job or whatever. Just be like,
I go to University of Alabama, and one of my, I guess that was my second game was when they played LSU a couple years ago with Joe Burrow and them. So you can imagine at halftime, by halftime what the fans are saying, oh my God, break down, make the tackle, cover this guy. And I'm looking at them like, dude, who is Justin Jefferson? Who is these guys? I'm looking at like these guys are balling. These are some NFL, from my perspective, like these guys gonna play in the NFL. But the other fans, they like, what are you doing, Alabama? You can't guard this guy. He is this, and it's like, bro, look at the game. Obviously, they're playing some top talent. Like we have a good defense every year. It's gonna be 1 year or a game where somebody gonna show up. And little did we know the whole offense damn near went in the first round.
Yeah, right.
So you got to know what you're watching. And it's just, I done been to the game. I understand, yelling at, I've been to a lot of Braves games, yelling at an A1 pitcher, and I'm like, your curveball sucks. And he just throw the curveball and strikes my guy out. It's just, that's all fun and part of the game.
There's a difference between heckling and actually coming at somebody.
Being disrespectful. I hope you go home and your car flipped 3 times because you like, yo, come on, man. You can be like, bro, you trash. You missed it. Go shoot 100 jumpers in it, and go shoot 100 jumpers in the gym because you missed a shot. Something like that. You know what I'm saying? But all the negative energy vibe, that's just, I might personally go in my corner and cuss you out, when nobody hear it, or what I'm saying. I'm not going live, making a whole blog about, this guy, like, he has feelings too. He missed the shot. He's hurt. He didn't miss the shot on purpose. You know what I'm saying? So, sometimes we just, as fans, we get like, what's the word I want to use? Like, we get like, we deserve this or something like that instead of being
entitled.
Right, entitled to this, like, oh, they get paid all this much money after this game, they get to go in a $100 million mansion. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't have mental issues, they don't bleed like us, and that's what we kind of forget about.
Grown ass men. These are grown ass men we're talking about,
right? And we kind of
remember that.
So,
and they'll beat your ass. They get you talking like that in person.
Ask my boy for the Rams.
Oh yeah, for real. Yeah, that's crazy.
I saw that video.
Just like,
where you from? Like, oh shit! Oh god!
Like, how tall is he?
Aaron Donald's like 6'1".
Right? Who tried him? He playing D line?
No, but he's 6'1", 280 though. Like that's a different 6'1".
Yeah.
It's like, sorry, bro. What you need, bro? Right? I go buy you some more milk. I did not mean to knock that out your head. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy.
I don't really commit players like that. If they're not good, then I just avoid them. I'm like 0 shares. Like if I don't think you're good, that's my way of calling you trash. I don't want anything to do with you. Except last year, Gardner Minshew was pissing me off. Only because I was so big on Visca. I'll never forget this. Like this play still haunts me in my memories. It was they had Visca in the backfield and they were gonna do like a handoff to LaVisca. But instead, Gardner pulled it from Visca and kept it and tried to do some shimmy shit and got tackled behind the line. And I'm like, you're fucking terrible. Like, what are you doing? Even Visca turned around and was just like, yo, whose man's is this? And I'm like, I don't know. Get him out the game. I was pissed.
Look, you want Trevor here too?
Yeah, exactly. Dead ass.
Yeah. He definitely took a step back last year, but yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I had him as a sleeper. Don't tell nobody.
Yeah, no, same.
The-
A lot of basketball shares, not fun.
Yeah, no, we spent a considerable amount of time writing about Gardner Minshew here at the Lateral when we first started. That was a dude that we shipped pretty hard, and that did not end up panning out at all.
He
But
did
yeah,
have the injury too, but yeah,
yeah.
it was
Hey,
pretty,
yeah,
it was great.
there
Yeah.
it is. Bonus
Terrible
mini
team.
grievance. Damn it, Gardner Minshew. There we go. I don't know, but if you're out there, I love your mullet. Yeah. Okay, so we'll run it back around. Jesse, what's another thing you want to get off your chest?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I have a problem with the fantasy football community, or just fantasy football in general, is that people are way too reactionary, and I fucking hate them. I like if we have one guy who does like a bad season, like a guy like Zach Ertz, or like Julio has like an injured season, and suddenly he's like not the guy he was 2 years ago. I just really bothers me. Especially when guys who are really talented and they have a down year, and people just write them off. And I'll take the value when people let those guys drop in draft and everything like that. So good for me, but like also you're dumb. So yeah.
I guess I'll go to piggyback on that. I also think people are just too sensitive. Like, oh my God, I can't. What are we talking about here? Like, football, sports talk can be loud. It can be boisterous. You see it in the barbershop places. People get really adamant and passionate about their takes, their players, things like that. People will challenge you. People will say, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. I've had these conversations in person with people. Oh, this, that, and the third, and it gets heated at times. But it's talking about sports. I feel like whenever someone on the timeline says, "Oh, this is a bad take," like, "Oh, you can say it in a way that isn't mean." It's just like they're people. People are going to say things nice. People are going to say things mean. Get over it. Like, come on. Like we're getting cyberbullied now. It's like I just feel like at this point you should be able to filter through that and not have to make a whole woo-ha because someone said something not nice to you. Someone with a Captain Crunch Abby, not even a real person, threw some slander at you, and now you want to talk about how toxic. There's nothing really toxic about the fantasy football community outside of the overreactionary things that I see. Like no one here is really coming at anyone's personal well-being, anything that really has some real significance. If you say you like a player, I said I think that player sucks. You know what you're talking about. Not even me. If some people say that to me sometimes, and I'm just like, okay, like sure, not a lot because people don't try me like that. But
let me add that in there.
but it's like I just think that it's not as hurtful as it's made out to be. I know online things can be taken out of context. People may not be able to get certain points of sarcasm or just your tone when you're saying something, but people are really quick to get defensive, and I've just seen it a lot lately. I don't know, maybe because people want football back, that they're just being really spicy, just talking a little more shit than usual. And it's like, I'm with that. If we want to take it there, we can. But, if you don't want to do that, if you don't like what somebody says, ignore them, block them. But, don't cry about it. Well, come on. I don't know. Maybe I'm an asshole.
I think, unfortunately, there are some people who will take it to an unnecessary point that it doesn't need to go or whatever, where it's just like, yeah, because there are some people. Look, okay, the majority of people are just like, oh wow, your take's bad, you're an idiot, blah blah. It's like, okay, I've been on the internet long enough. I've been on the internet long enough. I'm prepared for that stuff to happen. But then when there are some people that it's a much smaller number. But the people that will go after it's like, oh, you and it's like, oh, your take is bad, and oh, look at your picture, you're fat as fuck or something. It's just like, okay, those people.
Oh yeah, that's rude.
Yeah, that shit, fuck that. You don't need to be out here getting.
That's unnecessary. That's too
exactly.
far.
And at that point, it's just oh man, I got to shout out my two best friends in all of the Twitter world. Straight up, Mute, big fan of Mute. Mute is one of my favorites, and also Block. Another one of my favorites.
Dude, I didn't catch that initially. Did
yeah, dude, Mute and Block are just.
I was like, damn, am I following Mute? I don't know.
Yeah,
I was like, it is.
What Mute do they?
What do they? He be having the jams. He be dropping jams.
Right, Mute or what's going on here?
Block.
No, but dude, seriously, just this is a service that comes with two really awesome features that if you don't want to hear from someone or do all that stuff, it's just bro,
and if you want to work in this space, if you want to be a professional in this space, have y'all seen Skip Bayless's mentions? Like, holy smokes, people are murdering this man, saying some of the worst possible things. You don't see him on TV saying, "Oh, I wanted to do my job today, but people are being really mean on Twitter." It's like, come on, you're gonna get more of it. The higher you get, the more noise you make, the more eyes you get. It's gonna be positive and negative. You're gonna have to roll with the shit.
It's 2021. Once you put it out on the internet, you got to know
Yes,
you're gonna
it
get
is.
some
It
feedback
is.
that's negative or positive. For me personally, when you put something out, put on out. I want smoke. Just come with some
Yeah.
stats. Don't just be like, this my guy. I seen him jump through a trash can, then do 20 push-ups, so he's gonna go on the field and murder shit. No, come with some, little stats or information to why you say, I don't believe this player is gonna do what you said. And then from there, who knows, and if a person comes to you with some information like that, you should be someone as a fantasy creator. You should be someone that want to sit back, check to see what they're talking about, to see if they have a point that could help you in your rankings or your projections. You know what I'm saying? Just take it in. They could have some facts that you was bound to overlook. So I just put it, you can reply, you can stay, just be somewhat respectful. You can even be like, bro, your trash is tape because this and that. You know what I'm saying? Just don't be like, this is trash. Have something behind it of why you saying it's trash.
And even if you just want to say, I saw him do 100 push-ups yesterday, he's better than whatever you said. Even if you don't have that substance and you just want to voice it, go ahead. It's a platform. That's what the platform's for.
Right.
You know what I mean? At the end of the day, say whatever's on your mind. Like, I'm not going to, you say, oh, he's trash because this. I'm like, well, good luck to you. Let me know how that pans out, because what I'm going to do is bookmark the shit out of that. And we're going to see about that come week 6. I'm good for keeping receipts. Don't play with me.
Just to be like, oh, you're an idiot, you dumb idiot. Like, yo, bro, we all out here putting in work, and you know what I'm saying, be respectful of our work. You know what I'm saying? We're all competitive in the field, that too. So you not feel that nature. I love that's we all play some sports in our time, and we're bringing that to this field, being competitive. But still, at the end of the day, you got to have some respect to the game.
Respect is the only thing. As long as you're not being disrespectful, you good. You know what I mean? As long as you're not, calling people, oh, you're a fucking idiot and shit like that. Even if you say that, I might not even react. No, I'm reacting. I'm reacting.
I'm reacting. I'm not gonna lie. I'll probably get there.
I don't care if you got a fake ass Abby. I'm gonna find you.
Yeah, but I think it really does boil down to the respect thing. You know what I mean? Like, that's really what it boils down to for me. It's just like, if you're gonna chirping at someone's opinion or whatever, we're people. That's just what happens. Especially because, like you said, like when people talk about sports, they're like, yeah, I don't know what it is about sports specifically, but like, yeah, man, things get hot. I don't know, just like, don't take it to a place that it doesn't need to go. You know what I mean? Like, that's really all you got to fucking do on your end. And also just like, because like what, if you're going to, I don't know, don't say anything that you wouldn't want somebody to say to you. You know what I mean? That whole thing, like, treat others the way you want it, like whatever that thing is. Like, yeah, like, just as long as you're not out here in these streets, just like being.
It's always the fake Abbies too. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, you're right. That 100%, dude. Like the worst shit I've gotten has always been from somebody who's just like, I don't know, it's just like, oh yeah, man, like this dude's like the fucking worst or whatever. And it's just like, I don't know, like Captain America. Like, okay, cool, great. So yeah, like what's his name? Like,
shout out to the cool fake Abby accounts, by the way. You guys aren't all that. Shout out to the people with no face in the Abby but are a good person. I see you.
Yeah,
you're seen.
Very, very much seen.
I will say, I mean, the internet and like Twitter and stuff like that, if we're talking about that generally, I mean, it does have, there are some problems that, that the fantasy community isn't, immune from, I think, like that, especially in a space that's like filled with a lot of dudes. It can be tough for women to be in this space too. So I understand that there are some problems that come arise, but I understand what you're saying too.
Don't go down that road.
Yeah, that's a whole another road.
Well, I'm just addressing, I don't want to say there's no toxicity in the fantasy football community, because there's
there definitely is, especially when it comes to women.
I just want to make sure we say that,
Some of these dudes are out of control.
I put it like this, man. We want to treat. We get on here on Twitter and want to treat Twitter like, oh, this is my job, I'm being professional. But then we also want to get on Twitter for my personal account and kick shit, which is cool too. But what I'm saying, it kind of get mixed up, and a lot of people just, yeah, man, From an HR standpoint, I try to
from an HR
I try to
standpoint.
treat it like I'm at work, bro. I try to treat it like I'm at work, man.
Yeah, that's a good philosophy for sure.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? After hours when I have a little drink out, too. But I still, try to back check the tweet. Do I want to force this a little? You know what I'm saying?
I tend to be a little more candid on my football account. Like, I made it being really candid. You know what I mean? Like, in terms of just my initial tweets and how I started off, I was just being myself, being really raw and honest. So it's like, now that, not the biggest following, but now that I have, people who follow and stuff, I try to fine tune it a little bit, clean it up. I was pretty drunk last night tweeting. I don't know if I went back and deleted those, but but I get what you're saying.
Hell yeah! And that was a very fun mini conversation about just not being a dick. That's the that's the moral of the story is just like don't be an asshole for the sake of being an asshole. That's kind of like, but if you are, do so in a respectful manner. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do.
It's gonna be interesting.
Oh yeah, what's up?
Be a respectful asshole.
Jamar, what else do you have to air in terms of the grievances?
So I really wanted to air this out because everybody in the football community, man, they just act like a running back 2 is useless. If a running back don't catch the ball, but they're giving over 200 carries a season, they're getting some good red zone runs. If they're getting red zone carries, they're still saying they're like useless. Like, no, they're not useless. Like you said, Rojo.
Rojo, let's say some Rojo tweet.
Right. Like you said, Rojo. He ended up like
every time.
Right.
Rojo's haunting this whole episode, by the way.
Well, he ended up like running back 13 or something like that. He was like 13 or 17, something like that. So you know what I'm saying? And where you draft the Rojo at, you got your money back on your ADP. Now this is a Pacific guy that comes to mind, David Montgomery. A lot of people, or I don't think he's going to have his running back 1 year, but he's in line to get 200, probably even more carries. When it comes to like David Montgomery, you got to think about football logical. They have a great football team, a great defense. You're bringing in a rookie quarterback. That sets up for David Montgomery to run the football a lot. The defense, they're going to try to, keep the rookie quarterback at him's way. Don't try not to do too much. They're going to hand the football off and try to control some leads. Even if they had Andy Dalton back there, they weren't trying to have him throw 35 times a game. So, we still got to give these guys some value. The late round running backs that are running back 2s, you know what I'm saying? They're still useful. And we just got to give those guys the value that they deserve. Everybody just writes them off. If you're not the top 5 running back, if you're not a top 12 running back, they're just basically writing you off and don't nobody want you on your team. But they still go out and draft these people. So let's just stop the hate and just say they're a good running back 2 to have. They don't have to be the running back 1.
I appreciate you so much for this. And it is something that we will be getting into with the official debut of The Lateral Show. Oh, me and Malcolm are going to have a podcast. It's going to be super cool. We're recording the first episode pretty soon. It's coming out on June 9th, and we're giving away a Scott Fishbowl invite. So tune in or whatever. Send an email to thelateralff@gmail.com. Well, in order to be entered into the, running to get the spot or whatever, you have to follow The Lateral. You have to send in a question for the mailbag, blah, blah, blah. But, the first few things that we're going to be going over is just like our process for how we evaluate things in terms of putting our rankings together and stuff. And like the first episode, preview, we're going to be talking about quarterbacks. At some point in like the coming weeks or whatever, running back is going to, come into the equation and how we evaluate running backs. And that is something like what you said, like just because you're not out here doing the whole CMC thing, just being like all the catches, all the carries, all that. Like, if you're not doing that, somehow that makes you bad. That makes no sense. It makes no sense at all because, like, dude, like fantasy football, like the point of it, like when it really comes down to it, is like you have a team full of people that are going to put up points. You want to make sure that your collection of points is more than the other person's collection of points. You have to have those points come from somewhere. So, like, every player can provide a certain number of points. So it's just like, okay, so this person's not going to help me out in the catching department because I play in a PPR league. But at the end of the day, like running for 80 yards and, falling over into the end zone or whatever, like that's valuable. You need people to do that, like an RB2 or a flex or whatever. Like that's a roster spot in your starting lineup. Someone has to do it. And like, I don't know, like it's a math game. It's your points versus another person's points. However you can find those points, that's important. So like, yeah.
And that's confusing. That feels contradictory to me because these are the same people who will flip out because the Lions signed Jamal Williams or somebody like that. Like, oh my God, DeAndre Swift is done, blah, blah, blah. But then turn around and say Jamal Williams isn't worth roster or he's not like valuable for a spot. Somebody make it make sense. Please make it make sense.
Make it make sense, please. Like, what did Jamal Williams does better than Swift, but order than does follow the coach's plan? That's what I hear. He's a perfect guy. That's it. Like, come on, man.
And teams aren't thinking about your fantasy squad when they're picking up players. Right. They want depth at every position. Not everything has to do with your ADP. Newsflash, only you care about that. Right. Like, come on now.
Let's think football. It's a lot of touches and carries out there to be had. If a guy's going to get 40% of the touches and they run the ball 440 sometimes, that's like what, 200, 180, 200 touches right there. Just with so like, let's do the math and just the running back one era or there being a cowbell era. That's practically over. It's only like what 5 guys.
It's done.
So let's just go in here and we know guys are going to be back up. And with that said, that we know a lot of teams are not going to be bell cow. That means a lot of these players that split time are going to have opportunities to be running back ones. So we just, we need to get over it.
This is a J.K. Dobbins tweet too, by the way. Like,
I'm all on JK.
Stop sleeping on J.K. Dobbins, everybody.
I'm all on the hot train.
As you should be. People like I tweeted that the other day. I was like, how are you worried about the Ravens receivers because of the running game, but worried about J.K. Dobbins because of the running game? Like, come on, guys. He's gonna get the ball. He's stuck.
And these people not looking at the numbers because the Ravens ran like almost 500 times, I believe, last year. And if Lamar ran 25% of that, that's like 100 and some yards.
Yeah, like Lamar, I'm like, do you know how many snaps of football that there is going on this season? Lamar's not going to run it every time. Gus Edwards is not going to get it every time. But we do know they're going to run the hell out that ball.
Right.
And J.K. Dobbins is going to be in the mix.
And then if we look at Ingram and how efficient Ingram run was in that role, and if you think Dobbins,
he was drying up then when he was doing that.
So I'm all on Dobbins train. I got him around my like 9 or 8 because I believe he's going to get a lot of touchdown deodorant.
J.K. Dobbins,
I got him right my 9 or 8.
That's good.
So if he doesn't get a lot of touchdowns, then he will be further down the line. But I believe he's in tow for a lot.
He's going to be a stud. He's going to be a stud.
But but like if Drake, as I hate to say it, I said I'm not Draking anymore this year, so I'm not gonna draft Drake. But last year, as ugly as it was, he was still a running back too.
Yeah, and he was solid.
He helped me get to a championship because at one team you got to think about it's all everybody get bulked up like I want this running back to get all the catches. At one point in time I was all in like I want my running back to catch the ball. Then I just sit back and just think real football and look at it like. And think fantasy-wise, as you said, it's all about points. If I go get Dalvin Cook early, I can wait late and get David Montgomery, and those points between Cook and David Montgomery each week should settle out to give me like a running back one backfield. You know what I'm saying? So it's not about, and I get value at waiting late to get David Montgomery, so it's just, you got to be smart when I just want to put that to rest, man. Everybody is value. If they start even if they're a flex play, if they're starting on somebody's team each week, they are value to your team. So we just need to stop shitting on people that get drafted in the later rounds because those are the guys who win. John Brown drafted like ninth round ADP, wide receiver 15 or something. The guys in the later rounds are the guys that will help you win championship. It's not always about the first 5 rounds. The rounds are important, but it's not always about those rounds.
Thank you. Oh, gosh, I'm really glad we got to put that to rest because, dear God, people forget these things. And I did, oh, God, yes, if there's a chance somebody reaches your starting lineup, that's important. That's it. Thank you. we needed that. We really needed that. Like, oh dear God, this has been. I'm loving this. I am loving this to death. This just, oh my, I'm so glad I had this idea for the show, because like, oh man, we got to yell about stuff. We got to, roast my love of Ronald Jones multiple times, which is obviously very fun to do. And just like, and also like, hey man, oh God, we should consider doing this with greater regularity, because this has been so much fun. But like, I hate to do it. I really hate to do it, but I smelled the birthday food cooking upstairs. So I think it is time for me to get in my belly zone and, get that over with. So like,
enjoy yourself.
Happy birthday, man.
True, yeah.
Yes. It was a great one.
Oh, man. Everybody who tuned in for the return of Show with No Name, you are the best. Continue to tell people about the things that each and every one of us do, because we are fun people. Please like us, please follow us, please do all the stuff and whatnot. And for example, like with me, you can follow me on Twitter at HermsNFL. You can follow The Lateral at The Lateral FF. You can find the podcasts and stuff that we do on Spotify. And then as soon as I go into Anchor and click the button that just sends it out to like Apple Podcasts and all this stuff, I've been dragging my feet with that. The podcast will be available in more places soon. I'm just lazy.
All platforms.
Yeah, so soon to be all platforms. It's going to be great. And our YouTube channel, it's youtube.com/a bunch of letters and numbers. I don't know. You're gonna have to go to our Twitter or our website to link off to it or whatever. I don't know, but you'll find it. It exists. I promise. So, yeah, dude, that's just what it is. So it's just like, yeah, check it out. Boom, we do stuff. Yeah, so that's me doing my thing with the plugs and whatnot. Jesse, do the thing with your plugs and whatnot.
Yeah, I'm Jesse at Big Games Jesse on Twitter. I do stuff for The Lateral, obviously, the show, a lot of fun. And I have a podcast, Big Games Podcast. I got a website and all that stuff. It's super fun. I've got fun takes. If you ever want to debate me on something, please do. I'd love demolishing you. So there we go. I don't know. Eric, you want to go next?
Yeah, you two down there.
Yeah, not much to plug. Still, with work. Work's been killing me, but I'm going to launch this website, get some articles up. If you guys need someone to write for you or do a little something, hit me up. I'm free to join any shows and things. I had a group of friends together who we had some ideas that we were putting together, but, life, kids, marriage, all types of things going on. We haven't really been able to connect the way we wanted to. So I've been out here, showing up on, your show and things. So I'm going to keep doing what I got to do, and you'll be seeing more of me in the future.
Hell yeah, dude.
Thanks. Well, I'm Javar in Session. You can follow me on Twitter. On 1/3 of Fantasy in Session. We just feel like with the pod for the culture, we just feel like it's barbershop talk. We kind of go at each other, and as soon as we hang up, we like, all right, bro, you might get something to eat. You're gonna get on Call of Duty, So we might go at each other's heads, but as soon as the film is off, it's all love. It's all we know what's going on. We know how we get when we talk sports. And you can just find us on Twitter, and we try to drop some weekly. And we out here just reach out. We're trying to network with people, get on their shows, get people on our shows. So just reach out. It's all love. And thank you for having me, Herms and Jesse.
Word up. Appreciate you guys.
Oh, this was so much fun. The return of the show.
Long overdue.
And happy birthday!
Yeah, buddy. Happy birthday, man.
I did it. My streak of not dying continues. Woohoo! I did it. I did it.
That is important. I guess you can look at it that way.
Exactly. Still kicking. I made it another year. I've leveled up. But yeah, and also, hey, I was, it's been a while since we did the show with No Name. I was a little nervous if we were still going to have it, but we got the instant feedback. Not bad, guys. So hey, there you go. It's official. There it is. Not bad. Show with No Name. Official review. 100%. And we will ride out in wonderful fashion with my fun kazoo that I've been using a lot recently. So here it is.
Sound like cartoon. Like
money coming in. 1950s cartoon. Somebody shuffling and jiving.
Right.
One of